Hello, I am N. Kripa, Assistant Professor, Department of Biomedical Engineering, School of Bioengineering, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai 73. We are going to see about the course Radiological Equipments, and the topic we are going to cover is X-rays. So radiology is the medical discipline that uses medical imaging to diagnose and treat diseases within the bodies of animals, including the humans. So radiology is a variety of medical images. There are many variety of medical imaging such as X-rays, radiography, ultrasound, computer tomography, nuclear medicine, PET, fluoroscopy, etc. So radiology is like a branch of medicine that uses imaging technologies to diagnose and treat diseases. Radiology may also be divided into two different areas. One is diagnostic radiology and another one is interventional radiology. Diagnostic radiology helps healthcare providers see structures including your body, and the doctors that specializes in the interpretation of these images are called diagnostic radiologists. So using the diagnostic images, the radiologist or other physicians can often diagnose the cause of the symptoms, monitor how well your body is responding to the treatment you're receiving for your disease or condition. You can screen for different illness such as breast cancer, colon cancer, or heart diseases. The most common type of diagnostic radiology exam includes computer tomography, fluoroscopy, magnetic resonance imaging, mammography, nuclear medicine, PET, ultrasound, etc. Now coming to the interventional radiology. Interventional radiologists are doctors that use the imaging such as CT, ultrasound, MRI, and fluoroscopy to help guide procedures. The imaging is helpful to the doctors when inserting catheters, wires, and other small instruments and tools into the body. This typically allows for smaller incisions or cuts. The doctors can use technology to detect or treat conditions in almost any part of the body instead of directly looking inside your body through a scope or camera or with open surgery. So the interventional radiologists often are involved in treating cancer or tumor, blockages in the arteries and veins, fibroids in the uterus, back pain, liver problem, and kidney problems. The doctors will make no insertion or only a very small one, and we rarely need to stay in the hospital after the procedure. So most people need only moderate sedation. So some examples of interventional radiology procedures include angiography, embolization or to control bleeding, cancer treatments including tumor embolization, tumor ablation, needle biopsies of different organs, breast biopsy, uterine artery embolization, feeding tube placements, etc. So the radiology department includes the following services. The first one is digital X-ray, next is digital mammography, sonography, DEXA, CT scan, MRI, interventional radiology, PET combined with CT. So here we are going to see a very detailed manner of each and every part of X-ray machine. X-ray. A history of X-ray. So X-rays was discovered by the German physicist named William Röntgen, who was born on 1845 and lived till 1923. And he found this X-ray in 1895. They were named as X-rays or X-radiation as Röntgen did not know what they were. And he was using the symbol X for the unknown quantity, like in the mathematics thing. So he was awarded Nobel Prize in Physics for this outstanding discovery. And at first, this X-ray, he found out that it does not penetrate the metals and the bones in the hardest part, and only it penetrates the soft tissues and fabrics like that. With the help of when he found out with that the first time with his own wife, so she was wearing their wedding ring. So that's how he found out the X-rays. So X-ray is like a packet of electromagnetic energy, a photon that originates from the electron cloud of an atom. So this generally caused by energy changes in an electron, which moves from higher energy level to lower one, causing the excess energy to be released. So X-rays are similar to gamma rays. However, the main, difference or dissimilarities is that it has higher energy level to lower one, causing the excess energy to be released. So the X-rays are form of like electromagnetic radiation, which has penetrating power that allows us to take internal images of the human body or objects. X-rays cannot be stayed by electric and magnetic fields like alpha, beta, or other charged particles. The types of X-rays. So there are many types of X-rays that used in diagnostic conditions and diseases. The following are some examples like mammography. So it's a type of X-ray radiograph that is used to detect the breast cancer. The next is computer tomography scans, which combines with X-rays with computer processing to create detailed pictures or scans of cross-section of the body that are combined to form a three-dimensional X-ray image. The next is fluoroscopy, which uses X-rays and a fluorescent screen to study moving or real-time structure in the body, such as viewing the heart beating. It can also be used in combination with swallowed or injected contrast agents to view the digestive processes or blood flow. And the other uses for X-ray and other type of radiation include cancer treatment. So high energy radiation in much high doses than what is used for X-ray imaging may be utilized to help to destroy cancerous cells and tumors by damaging their DNA. Working of medical X-rays. So X-rays are form of electromagnetic radiation which is similar to the visible light. But unlike light, however, these X-rays have very high energy and can pass through most of the objects, including the body. So medical X-rays are used to generate the images of tissues and structures inside the body. If X-ray travels through the body, also pass through an X-ray detector on the other side of the patient. An image will be formed that represents the shadows which is being formed by the objects of the body. So to create a radiograph, a patient is positioned so that the part of the body being imaged is located between the X-ray source and an X-ray detector. So when the machine is turned on, the X-rays travel to the body and are absorbed in different amounts by different tissues, depending upon the radiological density of the tissues they pass through. So radiological density is determined by both the density and the atomic number. For example, the structure such as bone contains calcium, which has the highest atomic number than most of the tissues. So because of this property, bones readily absorb the X-rays and thus produce high contrast on the X-ray detector. So as a result, bony structures appear whiter than the other tissues against the black background of a radiograph. Conversely, X-rays travel more easily and less radiologically dense tissues such as fat and muscles, as well as through air-filled cavities such as lungs. So these structures are displayed in shades of gray on the radiograph. So this is the, this diagram represents the whole of the X-ray machine, which has the bed, the detector, X-ray detector, and you have the um, cornisoles, um, which helps to increase or decrease the amount of radiation which can be produced and which has to be fallen onto the patient. So now coming to the components of X-rays. There are many components of X-rays, so we are going to see each and every one in detail. The first one is X-ray tube or Coolidge tube. The next is the structure of the cathode, which has filament, focusing cup and everything. Then you have structure of anode. Then you have a tube envelope, uh, tube housing and collimation. Then you have X-ray generator. Then you have automatic exposure control. The first is X-ray tube or Coolidge tube. So you can refer to the diagram. This is an X-ray tube or a Coolidge tube which is made up of a glass. So the characteristic feature of this Coolidge tube are its high vacuum and uses of heat filament as the source of electrons. There is so little gas into the tube that it is not involved in the production of X-rays, unlike the situation with cold cathode gas discharge tubes. So the operation of the Coolidge tube is as follows, as the cathode filament is heated, it emits electrons. So the hotter the filament gets, the greater the emission of electrons. So these electrons are scattered or accelerated towards the positively charged anode, and when the electrons strike the anode, they change direction and emits Bremsstrahlung, that is the X-rays, with the continuous range of energies. The maximum energy of the X-ray is the same as the kinetic energy of the electron striking the anode. So, in addition to the X-rays produced at the focal spot of the anode, some undesirable X-rays are produced by electrons striking the other tube components. So, some of the key components of this Coolidge tube or X-ray tube is that its stability and the fact that intensity and energy of the X-ray can be controlled independently. Increasing the current to the cathode increases the temperature. So this increases the number of electrons emitted by the cathode, and the cathode increases the velocity of the electrons striking the anode, and the opposite effects and vice versa. So the degree of control over the tube output meant that early radiologists could do only with the Coolidge tube. What before had required a stable of cold cathode tubes. So as a bonus, the Coolidge tube could function almost indefinitely unless broken or being abused badly. So now coming to the shape of this, the Coolidge tube. The basic shape of the original Coolidge tube consists of a spherical bulb with two cylindrical arms extending out on the opposite sides, the cathode arm and the anode arm. So the arm increases the dimension of the tube so as to avoid the electrical arching from one end to the other. The length of the arm also helps prevent stray electrons on the inside of the tube from getting close to the tube ends. So the bulb is also large so as to increase the surface area of which the tube radiates heat. And in addition, its large size reduces the amount of tungsten that can be deposited per urine area, and it keeps the glass away from the strongest portion of the electrostatic field. The longitudinal electrostatic stresses in tubes with the conductive layer of the tungsten deposited on the inner surface could negatively affect a tube's operation. So if the tube incorporates another mechanism by which the heat can be dissipated, the bulb can be made smaller. So the hard glass like Pyrex began to be used from 1930s, had sufficiently high dielectric strength and heat resistance that the bulb could be illuminated and with the tubes made completely cylindrical. So this was an advantage because shielding of a cylindrical tube was a simple proportion. So next we can see about the anode in the X-ray machine. So tungsten is most commonly used target material in the anode because it has high atomic number, which increases the intensity of X-rays, and because of its sufficient high melting point, it can be allowed to become white hot. So during operation, what happens? The tungsten target can get as high as like 2700 degrees centigrade. So in many cases, the tungsten target is surrounded by copper. The high heat capacity of copper improves the dissipation of heat. So the area over which the electron from the cathode strikes the anode is referred to as the focal spot. So the cooler the anode can be kept, the smaller the focal spot can be, and the greater the image details is very possible. So if a high X-ray output is being required, a large focal spot could be needed to mitigate the temperature increases. So in early tubes, the angle of the target was usually 45 degrees. So we can check with the diagram. So later tubes often employed the so-called focus principle, in which the target angle was close to 20 degrees. So this reduced the effective area of the focal spot without significantly affecting the area of the anode bombarded by the electron beam from the cathode. So in other words, it permits the high loading without having to sacrifice the image details. So some degrees of cracking and fitting of this focal spot is normal, especially in tubes with a large focal spot. So fortunately, this doesn't affect the tube's performance unless the damage is so severe that the ability of the anode to dissipate the heat is compromised. Next, we can see about the cathode. So the cathode of the Coolidge tube incorporates a wound tungsten filament. We can stick with the diagram that emits electrons when it has been heated up. So there are two general configurations of the filament. Either the spiral tungsten wire is being used here, or else it takes like a circular or conical form, which is called universal tubes, or it is in the shape like an elongated coil, the so-called Benson design. So one is flat or conical spiral, another one is like a coil, which is called Benson. So the filament is located in the cylindrical chamber or slot machine in the cathode. So as a rule, the focal spot is similar in the size and shape to the opening. So the size and shape of the focal spot is partly determined by the filament's position relative to other components of the cathode. The focal spot size can be reduced by positioning the filament deeper in the slot in the cathode, or increased by moving the filament closer to the top of the opening. The dual focus of the tubes employs the cathode with two filaments. One is small and the other one is larger. The filament is positioned in the slot. The smaller filament produces small focal spot for the focus work. The larger filament, which produces a broader focal spot, it implies with the faster exposure is required. So these dual focus tubes usually have a switch at the end of the cathode arm that is used to select the desired focal spot. A step-up transformer is being used to reduce the line voltage from 110 volts to 12 volts, which required for the tube filament. So the current to the filament is adjusted with either the rheostat or resistance or inductance type regulators. So as an ammeter is employed to measure the current used to heat the filament, the current serves as a measure of the intensity of the X-rays that are being produced. So the next is the focusing cups. The focusing cup is like a negatively charged shallow depression on the surface of the cathode of an X-ray tube, which concentrates the electron beam towards the focal spot of the anode. So it is typically composed of nickel, and the negative charge of the focusing cup helps to accelerate the electrons towards the anode. The shape of the focusing cup helps to coverage the electrons onto the focal spot. Otherwise, electrostatic repulsion between the negatively charged electrons will cause them to spread as out as reach the anode, resulting in only some reaching the target. So next we can see about the relation between the filament and the tube currents. So as you can see with the diagram, the filament is a source of electrons in the X-ray tube. It is like a thin wire which has around 0.125 mm. Usually like tungsten is being used, which emits electrons due to thermionic emission operating in a vacuum and energized with electric current. The X-ray tube is like a vacuum, and so the relation between the filament current and the anode tube current is very important, and both as is being calculated in the forms of amperes. As you can see with the diagram, the under the 40 kV there will be a space charge being limited. So only in 20 kV you will be again getting your current, but above 40 kV, if you can see, till 120 kV you are getting the filament current, but after 120 kV it's been stopped. Means how much, even how much amount of current you are giving, the saturation point is reached there, and so the production of electrons from the filament is usual even if you increase the current, because it has reached the saturation. So that is the relation between them. So next is the anode. So anode is a compound of the X-ray tube where the X-rays are produced, and is a piece like a metal shaped in the form of beveled disc with a diameter between 55 and 100 mm and thickness of 7 mm, which has been connected to the positive side of the electrical circuit. The anode converts the energy of the incident electron into X-ray heat as a byproduct which is being produced. So most X-ray tube anodes are made up of tungsten, which is a target metal. Tungsten is a high atomic number, which is like 74, and a high melting point of around 3370 degrees Celsius with a corresponding low rate of evaporation. The high atomic number of tungsten gives more efficient Bremsstrahlung production compared to the lower atomic target material. So an alloy containing tungsten and ruthenium is also being used because the addition of 5 to 10% ruthenium prevents grazing of the anode surface. Okay, so some other kind of like molybdenum and graphite is also being used in the X-ray imaging like mammography. Anodes are designed as beveled discs which has been attached to a large copper rotor of the electric motor, rotating them at a speed of about 10,000 rpm with a temperature of 2000 degrees Celsius. So the purpose of the rotation is to dissipate the heat. Most rotating anode usually represent rather complex electromagnetic mechanical system consisting of approximately 350 pieces, taking around 150 assemble operations. So the anode disk rotates and it's subjected to the focused beam of the electron emanating from the cathode, which is accelerated by high potential difference between the cathode and the anode. So now what happens is the anode disk rotates and subjected to a focused beam of electrons emitting from the cathode, which is accelerated by high potential difference between the cathode and the anode. And when the electron beam hits the anode at the actual focal spot, the interaction of the electrons with the target material produces by the X-ray beam. The anode angle is the angle between the vertical and the target surface of the most X-ray tubes, having an anode angle of 12 to 15 uh, degree, and a smaller angle results in smaller effective focal spot. So next we can see about the tube envelope. So tube envelope is nothing but the housing. The general construction of the tube has been uh, made up of like glass material, and it is called housing that provides solid stable mechanical support. This housing is like a lead line material structure that can serve as a electrical insulator and thermal fusion for the tube itself. So X-ray production is rather inefficient process, and much of the electrical energy that goes on to this converted heat. The design of the housing or the tube envelope incorporates on oil bath, cooling fans and all. And it also has leakage radiation, which is housing, which is designed to reduce the radiation to less than 100 mr per hour, and it requires regulation periodically. Now coming to the collimation. So collimation is nothing but the X-ray beam collimation for radiography and fluoroscopy projection images is important for the patient dose and image quality reasons. So actively collimating the volume of the interest reduces the overall integral dose of the patient and thus minimizes the radiation risk. So less volume irradiated will result in less X-ray scatter incident on the detector. This results to in improved subject contrast and image quality. So X-ray field collimation differs from the use of electronic magnification, and the quantified field of view remains constant, and there is no improvement in the resultant spatial resolution performance. But however, the use of the collimation will normally reduce the image brightness and require a corresponding increase in radiation entrance skin dose to the patient, although not to the level when electronic magnification is used, because of the minification gain in unchanged. Next we can see about the anode, rotating anode and heating filament. So, filament is nothing but the anodes are designed as like a bevel disc which has been attached to the process, and the filament is as a hole which is like a wound tungsten which is being used here. So by this is the picture which is like attaching the anode and the filament together. So it has a rotating portion, armature, electromagnets, and filaments, tungsten filaments. So next is the X-ray generator. So X-ray generator is a device that produces X-rays together with an X-ray tube, detector, which is commonly used as a variety of application, including medicine, X-ray fluorescence, electronic assembly inspection, and measurement of material thickness in manufacturing operations. So in medical applications, X-ray generator are used by radiographers to achieve X-ray images of the internal structure like bones or living organisms, and also in sterilization. So the X-ray generator generally contains an X-ray tube to produce the X-ray which is being formed, and the X-ray generator also needs to contain the cooling system to cool the anode, and many X-ray generators use water or oil, and even some uses fan in order to dissipate the heat which has been formed. The X-ray tubes are found in wide varieties of imaging devices like computer tomography, CT, portable X-ray systems. As you can see here, they have used a fan as a cooling method. The medical X-rays are produced in glass enclosed vacuum tubes. High voltage differential is applied across a gap in vacuum tube between a cathode and the anode. The anode is the target for the electrons that are oscillated across the vacuum, and the anode is usually made up of a metal, often tungsten. So when the voltage or oscillated across the vacuum and the anode is usually made up of metal, the voltage differential results in an electron crossing the gap and impacting the metallic anode. The electron slows down, and what happens? It liberates the energy as a heat and X-rays. The majority of the energy is liberated as a heat, and this type of interaction that results in X-ray generation has been called by breaking of electrons, that is the Bremsstrahlung effect. So as you can see here, I have given a close-up of the X-rays, which are the anode, and that is the cathode to your left. And through that, in between only the X-rays are being produced. And in the middle, you can see the more, even more clear image of the anode and the cathode. And, to the right, you can see about the X-ray tube. It's been mounted, and you have a bed table on which the patient is being made to lay down, and under it you have an X-ray detector. So these are all how the X-rays are being produced, and each and every internal parts of the X-ray machine.